Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. 1 dead, 4 injured in St. Elizabeth crash. INDECOM probes police fatal shooting in Runaway Bay. And later in sports, Windies women win first ODI versus South Africa in Barbados. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie Simpson. Here are the details. 1 man is dead and 4 others injured following a 2-vehicle crash along the Park Main Road in St. Elizabeth. The deceased has been identified as 33-year-old Sandrika Thompson, a tiler of Abraham District in the parish. TVJ News understands that sometime around 1:30 this morning, Mr. Thompson was driving a green Toyota Corolla from Santa Cruz towards Lacovia with 2 passengers. His vehicle collided with a gray Toyota Axio traveling in the opposite direction. The occupants of both vehicles were rushed to hospital where Mr. Thompson was pronounced dead. Now, speeding is believed to have been the cause of the accident. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is probing the fatal shooting of 3 men by police in Runaway Bay last night. According to reports, the police were conducting an intelligence-led operation targeting men traveling in a white Toyota Probox. It's believed the men were searching for a bartender they had intended to kill. The lawmen were able to intercept the vehicle when one of the occupants reportedly fired at them. The police returned fire and a shootout ensued. 3 men from the vehicle were later found suffering from gunshot wounds. They were pronounced dead at hospital. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness continues to defend the recent reduction in the country's murder rate. Some critics argue that the decrease does not accurately reflect the overall situation. However, Dr. Holness insists the improvement is not just a 1-year decline, but part of a longer-term trend.
This is the first time since the 1980s that you're having 3 consecutive years of decline in the murder rate. So it's not a 1-year thing. We had a decline in 2023. We had a decline that was like 8 or 7%. And we had a decline in 2024 that was like 19%. And now we are at 44%. It's a totally different Jamaica.
Dr. Holness is calling on naysayers to show faith in the country's progress.
There are those who don't want to believe it, It irks them, it rankles them that this is happening because they are so used to the negative news. So there is a lag time for people to understand it and to appreciate it. But the facts are the facts. And when I speak to you, I give you the facts. You do with it what you want to do, but I give you the facts. You wrestle with your emotions, but you can't overcome the facts. So you have to have faith.
Principal of Pembroke High School, Reverend Claude Ellis, is hoping that programs to be implemented by the Ministry of Education in primary schools come September will result in a turnaround in the short term in the literacy and numeracy skills of students entering the institution. It comes following news of a 70% illiteracy rate among grade 7 students at the institution. Now, one of the programs will be making reading mandatory for students from grades 1 to 3. Reverend Ellis stressed that the interventions have to start at the early childhood level, then move to the primary. In an interview on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program this morning, he called for strategic programs. The Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, continues to distance himself from the controversial purchase of a $31 million medical drill by the Southeast Regional Health Authority from Medical Technologies Meditech. During Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Dr. Tufton says while the ministry has had contracts with Meditech, he does not know the shareholders of the company personally. Member of Parliament for Central Kingston, Donovan Williams, is listed as as a majority shareholder. However, in a media release in May, Mr. Williams said he only held the title of trustee and that his lawyers are filing documents to transfer those shares. But when TVJ News checked with the company's office on Wednesday, his name was still listed. TVJ News has also been reliably informed that the company's office had not received documents for a transfer of the shares. In the meantime, Meditech revealed that it had not yet received payment for the drill which was delivered to the Bustamante Children's Hospital last year. When asked whether the delay was due to any investigation or court-related matter, Dr. Tufton had this to say. We apologize for the absence of the audio. Moving on, local government Minister Desmond McKenzie says the government is expanding the Youth Summer Employment Program this year. Underscoring its impact, he noted that the program has helped several young people to secure permanent employment. Mr. McKenzie also emphasized the importance of youth development. And it's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. The official handing over of the Myton Gully Drainage Improvement Project in Old Harbour St. Catherine was held on Tuesday. Thousands of residents are expected to benefit from this project. Shimela Pullen reports.
The Myton Gully Drainage Improvement Project cost an estimated 326 million Jamaican dollars. It was carried out through a partnership between the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and the World Bank. The project falls under the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project. It aims to reduce flooding in the Big Pond, Myton Gully area and nearby communities. The upgraded drainage system is now complete. Over 38,000 residents are expected to benefit.
What existed here before, which was built many decades, possibly in the 70s or 80s, was not sufficient. My understanding is that it had one box culvert that would not have been able to carry the volume of water securely across the road and into the retention area.
Managing Director of JSIF, Omar Sweeney, says the project including expanding a single-cell culvert to 4 cells and replacing the base of the water channel with reinforced concrete. These upgrades improve the flow of water and waste, helping to prevent blockages and reduce flooding during heavy rainfall.
We completed this project more than a year ago, a little bit around a year ago. We completed the project, which means that the project did work or was completed before burial. It was completed after all the rains that came after burial. And just to say, that inconvenience was removed.
Member of Parliament for St. Catherine's South-Western Everald Warmington praised the project's completion. He highlighted its importance in protecting the community from flood-related disruptions.
We came from that to this. It's a major improvement. And I must commend JSIF for the effort it has made for the improvement not only in Southwest St. Catherine but in Jamaica. This is the third bridge under this program, the Mighty Gully Big Pond project, that they have done. They have done the Tetford by the Muslim temple. They have done the church pen by the cemetery, and this last one here. And I'm grateful. Not very long ago, could I stand up and say I'm proud of JSIF and his work?
Shimela Pullen, TVJ News.
It's now time for the Business Minute. Wigton Energy is reporting that its net profits dipped to $303 million on a 10% drop in its revenues to $1.83 billion during the year ended March 25. This was less than the net profits of $481 million before tax credits generated on revenues of $2.1 billion recorded for the previous year. The company says the decline in its profitability was mainly due to the aging of 1/3 of its wind turbines. Wigton, however, says it is trying to combat this with more investments in solar plants, while stressing that it has already invested in a 70-megawatt plant in Rosehill, Manchester. Further afield, UK's Food Standards Agency FSA has warned that a number of products from a brand of US sweets are unsafe to eat and contain ingredients which could damage DNA and increase the risk of cancer. UK businesses and consumers are being urged to stop buying and selling the Jolly Ranchers products owned by US company Hershey. The FSA says they contain chemical compounds, mineral oil aromatic hydrocarbons, and mineral oil saturated hydrocarbons which are not compliant with UK laws. The agency adds that the products pose a safety risk if consumed regularly over time, but there is no immediate cause for concern as food safety risk is low. And that's it for the Business Minute. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
An Air India flight bound for London with 242 people on board crashed minutes after takeoff from Ahmedabad on Thursday, killing dozens. The plane went down in a residential area, striking a medical college hostel. Most passengers were Indian nationals, and the death toll is expected to rise as rescue operations continue. A 38-year-old man survived the deadly crash. Ramesh Vishwas Kumar Bukarvada was seated in seat 11A just behind an emergency exit. He was injured but conscious. A video captured him walking toward an ambulance stunned bystanders amid the devastation. And the U.S. Coast Guard rescued 20 Cuban migrants stranded on Anguilla Key in the Bahamas. According to the U.S. Coast Guard, the crew from its cutter Walnut arrived on the scene and brought the migrants aboard due to safety of life at sea concerns pending their disposition. The migrants were provided with food, water, and were given medical attention before being transferred to Bahamian authorities. The Coast Guard emphasized its ongoing efforts to prevent illegal maritime migration. And those are the stories making the regional and international news. I'm Shane Masters.
Thanks, Shane. We now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.